Spending bill is sitting, as we speak, on the president's desk today, just waiting for his signature, which it is expected to get. Republicans are urging him to veto it. My next guest leading that charge, Arizona Senator, former GOP presidential nominee, John McCain. Senator, very good to have you.
Thank you, Neil. It's good to be back.
So, with the economy looking pretty good, you argue that it doesn't need a whole lot of fiscal goosing, huh?
Well, no matter how the economy is looking, we're just committing more and more generational theft on mortgaging our kids' futures. We are just passed a bill with over $4 billion worth of earmarked projects. Outrageous, pork barrel, corrupting spending. Let me just give you an example. $2.9 million to study surgery in outer space. Surgery in outer space to the University of Nebraska, an earmarked pork barrel project. I'm sure that Trekkies all over America are happy, but you count them all up, and it's $4.3 billion in earmarked projects, which are unneeded, unwanted, unnecessary, and contribute to this $1.5 trillion debt we've run up just for this year.
Well, you better hope there aren't a lot of Trekkies in Arizona, Senator, because you just lost them. But in all seriousness, what do you make of the fact that a lot of this is Republican earmark? A lot of this is Republican.
Well, that's the thing that's most disturbing about it, Neil. I think that one of the major reasons why we lost the 2006-2008 elections is that we Republicans let spending get out of control, unfunded mandates such as the Medicare prescription drug bill, and we lost our base. We lost our conservative credentials. So now we still have Republicans, and only a few of them, only 3 yesterday, voted against me on, voted for this bill.
Right.
But we still have Republicans who will continue to want to do this corrupting appropriations, earmark, pork barrel stuff that is just outrageous. We're going to take up a defense bill, which, by the way, has the national debt limit increase on it, and it'll be loaded down with pork also.
So what do you do in a position like that? I know you're for the troops and helping them out, but then their very financial support hangs on this type of omnibus legislation. What do you do?
If we had any guts, we would vote it down, send it back to the president, tell him to strip all the pork out of it, as he promised that he would. He said that we wouldn't continue, there would be change in Washington, and we wouldn't do this anymore. Have him send it back. We could have it passed again in 24 hours. Just take out all the pork and unnecessary spending, the billions. But
you know, Senator, when I talk to some of your Republican colleagues, and I've had many of them on the last few days, and cite their apparent hypocrisy on railing against pork, but including it in their own voting in this latest omnibus piece of work. To a man and one woman, they kind of say, well, you know, this isn't pork, this is a little different. But they each argue that. And I wonder, like, where do you draw the line between someone's vital program and someone's pork? What's the definition?
It's easy. All you have to do is, whether it's authorized or not, if you authorize it, even if I happen to not agree with it, at least it's gone through the process. For the benefit of our viewers, you authorize projects and then you appropriate the money for it. What they do now is they go around that. In the middle of the night, they put in a pork barrel project that has no scrutiny or competition with anybody else's. It's all of Congress. That's wrong, and it's corruption. We have former members of Congress residing in federal prison, and Americans are mad as hell about it, and that's what's part of the Tea Party situation. Part of this, I think there's a silent revolution going, not so silent revolution, but peaceful one going on out there, and the repercussions, I think, are going to be felt less than a year from now.
Senator, your former running mate, Sarah Palin, has made much ado about this Tea Party movement and the fact that this is representative of a movement that kind of has had it with both parties. Do you agree with her in that respect?
Well, I agree to a large extent, because, again, we've got to convince these people are largely independent voters. We have to convince them that we're not going to do what we did for 8 years, that we're going to be serious about their taxpayers' dollars, that we're not going to waste it and spend it on studies we've forgotten which one. My favorite of all time, I think, was I think it was $1 million to study the effect on the ozone layer of flatulence in cows. There's one on this one that is for irritable bowel research. If this healthcare thing continues for too long, I may support the first year mark in my life.
Careful. This is the early bird special time for a lot of folks, Senator. So let me get your take. I mean, if others are saying, though, Senator,
stop.
I hear you.
Yeah,
but if others are saying, all right, this is a sign that Republicans don't mean what they say, Democrats don't mean what they say, and others have urged, the likes of Sarah Palin, why don't you run as an independent? What would John McCain recommend?
I would say, first of all, the majority of Democrats, overwhelming, only 3 Democrats yesterday voted against it, only 3 Republicans voted for it. So there is a huge difference. But the point is that we have to regain these people's allegiance. That's what we have to do. And we are a party of principles and philosophy and views that I think can attract independent voters. I think we continue to articulate and act in a way in accordance with our principles of Ronald Reagan, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. We're going to do just fine, but we got to prove it to them. They're very cynical out there, and I understand that cynicism.
Federal Express, busiest shipping day ever. Post Office, similar numbers. Is this economy coming back?
Oh, I hope so. I hope it's coming back. But let's not have a false choice between debt and economic recovery. I mean, we don't have to spend more money on these programs that haven't worked and have run up these huge, massive debts. We can act fiscally responsibly, in my view, and we can at the same time not contribute more to the debt. Let's have a payroll tax holiday. Let's cut the corporate tax. Let's take a number of other measures, including doing away with the tens of billions of dollars of pork barrel spending. But now what they want is a commission. A commission, as you know, when they continue to vote for wasteful spending. That's not the answer.
All right. I read this profile on you in a very prominent newspaper today. It says that you're a little angry, a little snarly, and all. I don't see any evidence of that right now. But it seemed to surmise that your presidential ambitions are over and all, but I still see a very vibrant senior senator here. Have you really given up your presidential aspirations, period?
How many times do you want me to lose, Neil?
I'm just asking. That's all.
But look, right. I'm happy. I cannot tell you. I hope that I can play a large part in the loyal opposition. I've enjoyed this. It's vigorous. It's important. It's vital to the people of my state. And I can tell you that, look, I am so lucky to be able to represent the people of Arizona and to come where I've come. I hate to keep mentioning this, but I'm the guy that stood 5th from the bottom of his class at the Naval Academy. If my old Marine Company officer could see me now, he'd be astonished. I'm very grateful.
Well, outside of alienating all the Trekkies out there, you did okay. Senator, very good seeing you again. Thank you.
Good to be with you again, Neil.
All right, Senator John McCain. Meanwhile, to the big bank showdown less than 24 hours after the president calls them evil, greedy, do-nothing fat cats. Why would these CEOs even bother